Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today, we are going to take a fully spoilery look at Kaiju number 8, chapter 91. See, on the one hand, I felt a moment of deep and profound disappointment in this chapter, something like the which I haven't experienced for this entire series. On the other hand, this chapter addressed in a fun and wham, bam, punchy sort of way, a struggle that I've dealt with for my entire life, and that was a fascinating contrast of emotional reactions for me. Now, I am going to get into all the spoilers, so if you don't want any, I suggest you click away and check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of my book, Humans Are Weird, or one of the Dying Embers books. Sci-fi to either break your heart or shake your gut. Now, on to the spoilers. This is, on the surface level, a very nicely drawn fight. Vice Captain Hoshina is going toe to Kaiju toe with the Swords Kaiju, and Kaiju number 10 is having the time of his life. The good Vice Captain is getting bodied by the Kaiju, getting roundly defeated in his own specialized style of combat. Matsumoto teases Hoshina losing something important, and then reveals it was all just a dream fake-out. Kaiju number 10 gives Hoshina a pep talk, chapter end. First, let's take a look at the thing that really did disappoint me, the fake-out. We all know that in addition to the shielding provided by the Kaiju Defense Force's battlesuits, all of our main characters have plot armor. This is, after all, a Shonen Jump series. For both the very pragmatic reasons that the creators have dumped a lot of resources into each of these characters, and the reason that the fans would object, we can assume that none of them, our main cast, are going to die at this point. That's just the deal. So, how is a mangaka working within the limits of a Shonen Jump story going to have the actual stakes if none of the main cast can die? The mangaka crafts detailed, close relationships for the characters, things that we, the audience, can really get our emotions invested in, things that the characters treasure, builds up these connections, and then takes those things from them. One thing that Matsumoto has been building up from very early on is Vice Captain Hoshina's sense of, not just sense of worth, but a sense of a justification for his own existence being tied to his ability to be useful. Specifically, to be useful and better than everyone else in his ability to use two small swords and engage with small to mid-sized kaiju. That is a major part of Hoshina's self-identity, and to take it away would probably break him in fascinating ways. So I was shocked and delighted as an author when I saw the panel with Hoshina's strong right arm severed from his body. That would have been a true crack in the plot armor, a true cost, and would have upped the stakes for the rest of the fights as we anticipated equal losses for the rest of them. Watching Hoshina forced to take a back seat, to have his identity, the thing that proved his existence, erased, would have been a fantastic story to follow. And then, in the single most glaring instance of its kind so far in the series, Matsumoto pulls a fake-out. There was no finesse, no artful leading up. Vice Captain Hoshina just opens his eyes, looks at his still very much detached arm, and states that he must have passed out and been dreaming. Matsumoto tells us what was happening instead of the story showing us. And one thing that Matsumoto is really good at is showing instead of telling. It was a freaking glaring fake-out. If it was a mistake on Matsumoto's part, it was a huge one. And of course, it's a very classic shonen trope. Too classic. And Matsumoto has made me increasingly suspicious of any blatant shonen trope that shows up in the series. That very blatant and obvious nature makes me wonder. You see, the order of the panels implies strongly that the reason that Vice Captain Hoshina was so certain that he had lost his arm was that Kaiju number 10 had indeed lost his tail to the stroke, defending them from the blow. Now, Kaiju number 10 is linked to Hoshina's brain via the suit. We know that. But up until this point, there's always been a very definite sense of identity between them, especially between Hoshina and the tail. Remember back when Kaiju number 10 was directly defying Hoshina's will back during the airport fight, the movement of the tail was the visual indicator of that split in the will. The tail was distinctly a separate entity from Hoshina. But now, here we have Hoshina directly identifying the tail as a part of his own body. Does that indicate that we are getting more and more of a merge in the consciousnesses of Hoshina and Kaiju number 10? More importantly, is that the merge an inadvertent unexpected side effect of the Defense Force processes? Or was this what Kaiju number 9 was angling for from the start? Kaiju number 9 probably knew before Kaiju number 10 went into battle that he wasn't up to snuff. That's why Kaiju number 9 was making this next Kaiju. We know that Kaiju number 9 places great value on paired human-numbered weapon units. What if the very purpose of sending Kaiju number 10 out with those wyverns was to get captured and merge with a suitable user? What if, instead of Hoshina turning Kaiju number 10 into a weapon, Kaiju number 10 is turning Hoshina into a weapon? It's something worth thinking about. Then there was the whole emotional point of the chapter. In my spoiler-free video, I told the story of how my academic advisor taught us the very important lesson that if something is worth doing, it's worth doing wrong. Oddly enough, he used the illustration of someone getting their arm chopped off. I think he had actually had a friend of his get his arm chopped off. The concept went that if you do everything right, if you pack the arm in ice, apply just the right amount of compression and ice to the stump, get the patient to the hospital immediately, if you do it right, you get the desired outcome that the person will probably be able to keep their arm. However, it isn't always possible to do everything right. Sometimes you have to apply a brutal tourniquet and be satisfied if the patient doesn't die because help is days away. Even if you can't save the arm, it is still worth doing what you can do to keep the guy alive. If something's worth doing, it's worth doing wrong. That lesson stuck with me because it's one I had a lot of trouble with, especially in my professional field. If I did something, I had to be at the front of the pack. Maybe not first, but if I wasn't getting A's in my field, what was the point? I worked, I struggled, and what was the point if I wasn't good enough? I didn't have to be first, but I absolutely had to be doing it right. In this chapter, we get to see Hoshina come to that revelation. He has been trying to do it right, to fight this kaiju according to all of the rules that he trained himself in. He was going for a clear and obvious win, i.e. the kaiju dead on the ground and himself walking away under his own power to face the next threat. That is the doing it right win state. That is preserving the guy's arm with full functionality. However, there is another win state, especially because this is a wide-ranging battle. The whole point of the battle was to lure out Kaiju number 8, and for all the other Kaiju to focus in on him. All Vice Captain Hoshina and Kaiju number 8 need to do to pull a win out of this, and Kaiju number 10 need to do to pull a win out of this, is to not allow this very powerful Kaiju to join the fight. All they need to do is to keep that Kaiju busy until Kaiju number 8 and Kafka have survived their fight. This is basically what Kafka did back when Kaiju number 9 was shooting Reno and Iharu to pieces. Kafka, as Kaiju number 8, never defeated Kaiju number 9, but he kept fighting until his goal was achieved. Another way to put it is that Hoshina had lost track of the idea that the journey is half the fun. Hoshina has been so focused on doing things right, because that was the only way that he could keep up with his brother, that he forgot that sometimes it's perfectly fine to do things wrong. But what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Was Hoshina's cut arm just a giant shonen fake-out due to genre-specific plot armor? Or was Matsumoto hiding a darker reality behind this common trope? Hit that like and subscribe button. Go check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of my book, whether you want to laugh or cry. You choose Humans Are Weird or Kaiju or Dying Embers, and peace out, my wonderful viewers. Do you love awesome science fiction books? Of course you do. If you check out the links below the video, you can get yourself a copy of Comedy or Tragedy. Humans Are Weird. I have the data. Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote, and Humans Are Weird, Let's Work It Out are the 3 comedy short story books available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo by Rakuten, Google Play. There's even some copies at Powell's Books, the famous used bookstore in Portland, Oregon. Dying Embers, dragons, aliens, and things that go boom in the night, and soon Flying Sparks. More dramatic, traditional science fiction novels are also available at Amazon. Flying Sparks is still on the pre-order page. If you want a copy, you can email me by contacting the website to pre-order yourself a copy. It's still being edited. So check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of some wonderful science fiction.